Welcome back, everyone. Hoping out there had a happy Thanksgiving. We've got some significant changes on the way with a powerful winter storm that will be developing, and then the strongest, coldest air mass of the season so far will be dropping southbound. But before that happens, we do have some stronger storms and even some severe weather further south to highlight, going to impact your holiday travels. So here's the overall setup. We've got a ridge of high pressure that's building up there in Alaska. Those warmer anomalies will be creating that blocking feature that will allow the colder air to settle further south. At the same time, we have a significant low pressure system that will be developing across Montana through the Dakotas. That is the start of a significant winter storm that will be impacting the upper Midwest as we head into Saturday, heading into Sunday timeframe, and then that colder air will be plunging southbound. So we've got already widespread winter storm watches and warnings across a good part of Montana, through the Dakotas, pretty much the entire state of Iowa there, as well as into Wisconsin, back through Chicago, Illinois, and even Indianapolis, and those areas into Indiana are under a winter storm watch, winter storm warnings, with a significant winter storm that's about to unfold. Here are the wind chills that are for this morning. What that first cold front for that Thanksgiving week. So you're definitely already feeling the chill out there. It's definitely feeling a little bit more like winter with even some single digits kind of popping up, with already that snow on the ground up there through the Dakotas, back into the teens further south. And of course, we'll only get colder as that colder, the most strongest cold front has yet to be felt across a good part of the lower 48. But the overall setup on the jet stream kind of looks like this. We've got an Arctic high that's going to be moving into the lower 48, a 1042 Arctic high. Out ahead of it, the jet stream does take a significant dip, and we do have a developing area of low pressure that will be the beginning stages of our winter storm. And then, of course, further south, we still have the warm sector, and the southern branch of the jet stream will likely get active with yet another disturbance that will be traversing across Texas and Oklahoma as we head into tonight, heading into tomorrow. That will kick off yet a renewed round of showers and thunderstorms, and then even some severe weather along the front as we head into Saturday afternoon. So the temperature gradient is going to be pretty extreme. So we've got, a good 20 to 30 degrees below average temperatures where the significant cold blast. And then further south on Saturday, we've got 10 to 15 degrees above average. So that's going to put the southern branch in the warm sector. That will include a spike in temperatures, and then will enhance the instability, and then also enhance the possibility of stronger storms, even turning severe along the front, out ahead of the front as we head into Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening time frame. But there's our significant winter storm that will be developing, and that snow will be starting to crank up there into Montana, back through Wyoming, much of the Dakotas, and then eventually that will sneak into Iowa with some very significant heavy snows during the overnight hours on Friday, and then heading into Saturday morning. It's really going to be getting its act together as further south we've got that lead disturbance with some showers and thunderstorms. And then along the front, we do in fact have an upgraded marginal risk, an expanded marginal risk for some severe storms. It does include portions of the Dallas-Fort Worth area further south into central Texas, heading into East Texas, and then those areas across southeast Texas. So the further southeast you live, obviously the temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer. You've got a little bit more instability, and even you have a low end tornado threat for areas of Houston back through Beaumont, as well as into portions of Louisiana. So do look to have some hail producing storms, some damaging winds, and the atmosphere will be rotating a little bit more the further off you get into the southeast. And here's the setup on the cold sector further north. That snowstorm will really be cranking. The darker blues, that just indicates the very intense heavy snow bands that will be winding and getting its act together, especially into Saturday afternoon. That storm will be on full throttle, if you will, with some 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates at times. It's going to be really adding up in a big way. I mean, some of those areas could easily get some 8 to 12 inch totals, and even some higher amounts is definitely not out of the question, while they're dealing with the stronger activity further south back into Kansas, through Oklahoma, especially there into Texas and Louisiana, getting into Arkansas during the day on Saturday. So by the time we head into Saturday evening time frame, there's the instability, a ton of lightning with these, and then we'll have some stronger storms and some very significant heavy rain will likely unfold for those areas across southeast Texas, getting into Louisiana. I think that's the most significant severe threat, especially with the helicity updraft values kind of enhancing, kind of showing some of the shear that's going to be unfolding across this region. We did in fact had 2 confirmed tornadoes just a couple days ago down there in the southeast, and we've got a little bit of a similar type setup. So you've got to be concerned about some possible spin up tornadoes within the warm sector getting into late Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening time frame, out ahead of the cold front in the warm sector down there in southeast Texas, heading into western portions of Louisiana. So there's the cold front. This is Sunday morning. It's still cranking up there across the Great Lakes, a good part of Wisconsin. Michigan's going to be really adding up those totals yet again. And then the backside snow through Chicago. That will likely get into Indiana. A little bit lighter amounts as you swing into Ohio. And there's the colder air mass with the red line. That's the freezing line that drips all the way further south. Some of these areas haven't even actually seen a freeze yet so far this season, like officially in Dallas. They'll likely get one with this air mass that's definitely coming on the table. So as we head behind the front, we're going to be getting some strong gusty winds. So yes, the actual temperature is going to be pretty chilly, but it'll feel even colder than that, especially when you combine with a 30, 35, 40 mile per hour winds at times. You're definitely going to be feeling the colder air mass that's going to be heading into the last day of November, getting into December to start December, and it's going to feel every bit like winter out there, because if you wake up on Sunday morning, we've got 74% of the country will be experiencing the freezing mark or below. I mean, they're with the snowpack. Yeah, that's below zero cold temperatures up there through Montana, back through the Dakotas, single digits as you go into much of the northern plains, teens further south into Kansas, 20s across all of Oklahoma, and then the freezing mark more or less stops right along the Dallas-Fort Worth border. Much of Arkansas is below the freezing mark, so you get the idea. It's definitely going to be cold out there as we head into that last day of November. And then we have a second disturbance. So the first disturbance continues to lift off to the northeast. It'll kind of wind itself down. You've got the colder air mass that's coming on the backside. And then we have yet another little upper level disturbance that will be forming over the Rockies. And that will also swing across for our second storm. That one obviously won't be nearly as significant as the first one, but it will be dropping the snow areas a little bit further south, as well as that colder air will start to mix in the deeper we get into Monday. And on the backside of that, we could see a little bit of snow there in Oklahoma. Definitely not out of the question. Portions of Arkansas likely get some little bit of a light snow. You swing further south into southeastern Oklahoma, you start getting into Texas and stuff. The temperatures are right around 40, especially with those temperatures aloft at 40. It's going to be pretty hard pressed to get snow in those conditions. So do expect a little bit of a lighter rain swinging into portions of Dallas, northeast Texas. But once you transition further north, central, northern Oklahoma, Arkansas, yeah, you could be getting that's kind of a wintry mix and transition to more of a lighter snow on the backside. But more snow will be laying down the groundwork across Illinois and Indiana, portions of Ohio, back through Michigan. This will be the second storm, while you'll get more rain further south across the southeast. That'll be on the day on Monday. So as you wake up on Tuesday morning, there are the coldest, more widespread temperatures. 77% of the nation is going to be experiencing a freeze. We've got those freezing mark dropping a little bit further south. So yeah, you'll have more areas experience a freeze, and that'll be the third day in a row that you're going to be experiencing those much colder temperatures, considering where we've been for much of all of fall, right? So it's been fairly kind of warm a good part of fall. So this will be a nice reprieve and much colder temperatures. So overall, the next 5 days, yeah, puts a good part of the country, especially you live in the central and eastern 2/3 of the U.S., you're definitely going to be feeling the chill across the nation. And it's extended cold blast, at least for 4 or 5 days. You'll be below, if not well below average for a good part of the central and eastern 2/3 of the U.S. So as far as precipitation goes, yes, where you are in more of the warmer sector, you're likely obviously going to get some more significant rain bands moving across. So you got not much to speak of across a good part of the west and much of the desert southwest. Most all of this will be in the form of snow, but further south, this will be all rain and even some heavier rains. Some couple inch totals would likely not out of the question. This is actually where they're going to get the severe storms. And as these move across with several disturbances, these are going to be adding up to 1, 2, even some 3-inch amounts across a good part of the southeast, much of the eastern seaboard, and much of all this will be in the form of snow. So even on the blend, this is pretty significant winter storm if you even combine those two systems with a more powerful winter storm on the leading front and then the second more moderated storm on the backside. Yes, that's all going to add up to easily an 8 to 12 inch swath. Even some higher totals are going to be mixed in across a good part of the upper Midwest, a good part of the Great Lakes, and back into areas of portions of Canada and New England. We'll be likely seeing some significant snowfall. So guys, I appreciate you watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch my next update where I protect you before and after the storm.